Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Dr. Professor Mom. A new semester is upon us. I cannot believe this is my 10th semester at Ohio State. I am amazed at how much fun it's been, how many learning lessons, like all of the ups and downs. It really has been a good 5 years. And it's crazy to believe that this is my 10th semester teaching. And this my fall class is my favorite class. I teach fatigue and fracture. And so it's so nice to have senior level undergrads. They're really enthusiastic. And I feel like this is the most confident I have ever been starting an academic year. It is definitely a journey to get here. And you've heard in my other videos some of my struggles, but I'm super excited about the year. I remember starting and not really knowing what should I be doing? What should I be doing with my time? How should I be prioritizing my time? And I don't want to make this video super long because I know that it's a lot going on in the beginning of an academic year. But I just wanted to give 5 tips to new faculty members or either first or second year faculty members that I think I lessons I learned, things that really worked for me, but 5 things that I really think will help you in as you start this new journey. The first is don't be in a rush to hire students. I know it feels like I have to get my lab going. I need to get results. I need to write papers. I need this huge lab. Take it from me. It is better to have one very good student than 2 or 3 decent students, right? You can get a lot of things done with one really good student that's dedicated to your project, that is willing to work and is willing to put in the effort. So don't be in a rush to hire. Because it wastes so much money if you strike out. And it can be frustrating and it can really make the first year or the first semester a terrible semester, especially when you're worried about it, right? Because when you don't have students that are getting things done, you feel as if like the world is ending because you're like, I know I need to get results. I know I need to write papers. I need to win grants. I may need some preliminary results. So I would say for sure, take your time in hiring. And also, I know you've probably negotiated, but it doesn't hurt to get a postdoc. If your funding allows it, and you have space in your startup or you have support from your department to get a postdoc, there's nothing wrong with getting a postdoc, especially if you can find a really good postdoc. But just like with students, with postdocs, you really need to vet them. Make sure you check their references. Ask questions, talk to the reference writer, ask any question that you need because postdocs are more expensive than students. And so you really want to make sure you want to get a postdoc that has a skill set that you need. Like for me, it takes students a while to do things like transmission electron microscopy. So a lot of my postdocs, I go for people who are experts in that specific area, right? I mean, so you think about like what skill set that you need right now that you may not have students that are ready to get up to that level. So again, don't be afraid, to hire a postdoc and don't be afraid to take your time hiring students. Do not be in a rush. I cannot tell you how stressful it can be if you have bad students. And it was very stressful for me. Another thing to think about in this first, and you probably already thought about it over the summer, but what are going to be your first 3 proposals? Like, what are your first 3 ideas? What is the funding source that you're going to go after? Who are the program managers within that organization that fund this type of work? And start really reaching out to program managers and writing up white papers. I personally, and it's going to kind of lead into my third point, I personally think in that first 2 years, you should focus on yourself. So building your lab and making sure that asking the question or researching, does that specific funding source have some type of early career young investigator award, right? That helps kind of propel your group. Which kind of leads into my third point of don't lead big proposals. Big proposals are a lot of work and they take a lot of time, especially when it's these huge center type or multi PI proposals, right? It's good to be on them with senior faculty and kind of getting the gist of how things go and how you organize it. But I wouldn't suggest leading that in the first year or two. I would suggest really focusing on your group and building your brand and your vision out. And so thinking about what are going to be my first 3 ideas. And from that, what are going to be my first 3 proposals? I literally had in my head, these are going to be my first 3 proposals. And I went from there. And like every year, this is the Young Investigator Award that I'm going to apply to for this idea. And then I'm going to give myself a year to get that project started, and then I'm going to go after another one. And then I'm going to give myself another year, year and a half to get that project going. And then I'll go after my third one. And that's really how I thought about as I built my group, my lab, how that would look. Also knowing that I'm an experimentalist, I'm a scientist. So we have equipment, we have labs, but whatever it is, building that takes time. And sometimes it can feel like you're behind or things are not moving as fast as you like it. Remember that this is not a sprint. This is for sure a marathon and it takes time. I know we look at the older faculty and we're like, man, they have these huge groups and their labs are flourishing, but it takes time to get there. And so when you're rushing yourself, you usually make a lot of mistakes, which is why I'm saying really sit down and think about what are going to be my first three proposals. Don't be in a rush to hire students. There's no need to have three students if you don't have three things for them to work on, right? The fourth thing is teaching takes a lot of time. I will tell you, if you talk to any junior faculty member, especially after the first year, it's like I'm drowning in teaching responsibility. Teaching takes a lot of time. And if you do not watch it, it can consume all of your time. I made that mistake my first semester. I remember calling my mentor and saying, I don't think I can do this. This is like, I'm drowning. Like, I'm spending all of my time preparing for this class. And he said, listen, you need to make a daily schedule of this is when I'm going to work on the class. And this is when I'm going to do other things like write proposals or write papers. But you do not want to spend all of your time on teaching. And know that that gets better with time. So the first semester or two, it can feel like a lot overwhelming. But as you teach a class, two, three, four times, it becomes like second nature. Like now, this class, my fatigue and fracture class, I don't even think about it, right? I change some things around from year to year. If I see something that I don't think is working or it's not that point, it's not really hitting home with the students, I switch things around. But for the most part, the longer you teach it, the more confident you are in the class. And what I'll say is why if you listen to one of my negotiating videos, I said about making sure that you're going to teach that class until you get tenure because you don't want to be switching classes because it really does take a lot of your time. And so, when you're feeling overwhelming, know that you are not the only one that's experiencing that. But what I did was I started making a daily schedule of like, this is how much I'm going to spend on class time every day. And this is how much I'm going to spend on writing or looking up proposals. You really want to be strict with your schedule so that you don't feel overwhelmed by certain things. The last point I'm going to make is prioritizing self care. The beginning is a lot. You're really stressed. You have a lot going on. If you have kids, a significant other, family things going on, this job is a lot of work in the beginning. And you have to decide early on, like, what type of academic do you want to be? And that's a very personal question, right? Because as life changes, the way you do the job probably will change as well. So you want to make sure that you're prioritizing some type of self care, whether that be, for me, after every 2 or 3 hours, I'll get up and take a walk around campus, right? Just to kind of refresh, reset, calm down. I do that every day. It's just even if it's cold, I take a walk around campus just to kind of reset my mind. I prioritize working out, making sure that I'm taking care of myself and feeling better. It's a way I relieve stress. So again, you want to make sure that you are prioritizing some type of self-care, some type of extracurricular activity, whether it's reading a book, whether it's a guilty pleasure reality TV show, that you're doing something to take care of yourself because this job can be very stressful and it really can consume you if you let it. And I know in the beginning it's a lot. So trust me, I'm only telling you this because of my own lessons learned, right? Of not really prioritizing yourself and letting the job be overwhelming. Don't let tenure be a cloud over you. You're good. You got this job. You're going to do amazing at this job. And you're going to, if you're whatever you want to do, you're going to do it. It's not saying that you're not going to hit bumps in the roads, but as long as you are progressing, you will be fine. Don't let tenure be this cloud over you where every time you make a mistake, you think, I'm not going to get tenure. Oh, this is going to be something against me. There are many ways to be an academic, right? And it's not a one size fits all thing. So don't let tenure be a cloud over you. You want to do great science, whatever your goals are, that should be what's motivating you. Don't worry about tenure, it's going to work out, I promise. And like I say all the time, if you don't get it, you'll take your talents elsewhere, right? This is not the end of the world, right? There are other things you have a lot of talents, but don't let it be a cloud to the point where you don't enjoy your job. Like enjoy what you do and love it. So thank you for tuning in to Dr. Professor Mom. I have some really cool things lined up this academic year. Next week I'll be having a conversation with Dr. Chris Crawford, who is a newly tenured professor at the University of Alabama, who does a lot of cool outreach in the space of computer science, and he's also a father. And so, really hearing from him about his how he balanced his impact in his profession. Look out for that video or tune in to me on Apple Podcasts. And I hope you guys have a great semester. Bye.